you talk to yourself. Maybe it's out loud in your car or quietly in your head when you're working through a problem. And you've probably felt that familiar sting of judgment, that moment when you worry someone might have heard you, or when you caught yourself doing it and felt a little strange. But here's what psychology reveals. Talking to yourself isn't a sign that something's wrong with you. It's actually a marker of something quite rare and special happening in your mind. You're not broken, you're wired differently. And in this video, we're going to explore exactly what that difference means and why your brain works this way. In this video, we're exploring 5 rare psychological traits that people who talk to themselves typically possess. If you've ever been called overthinking, intense, or told you're too much, or if you felt misunderstood for your inner dialogue habit, this is for you. We're going to decode what your self-talk actually reveals about your cognitive abilities, emotional intelligence, and unique psychological strengths. By the end, you'll understand that this trait you might have worried about is actually a sign of something remarkable. You have exceptionally high self-awareness. When you talk to yourself, you're engaging in something psychologists call meta-cognition. Essentially, you're thinking about your own thinking. Your brain is constantly observing itself, analyzing its own processes, and creating a dialogue between different parts of your consciousness. Here's what's happening in your brain. You're activating your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for self-reflection and executive function. This shows up in your life as an ability to catch yourself in thought patterns, recognize when you're being irrational, and adjust your behavior accordingly. You might find yourself narrating your day, processing emotions out loud, or talking through decisions before you make them. This isn't confusion or indecision, this is precision. You're running internal quality checks on your own mind. This isn't self-doubt masquerading as conversation, this is self-mastery through dialogue. Psychology calls this phenomenon private speech, and research shows it's strongest in people with above-average intelligence and emotional sophistication. Your self-talk is your mind's way of maintaining clarity. It's a rare cognitive strength that most people simply don't have access to. Your brain is a natural problem solver. When you talk to yourself, you're actually strengthening your working memory and cognitive performance. Here's what's happening in your brain. When you verbalize your thoughts, you're offloading information into external space, whether that's the air around you or your own ears, which frees up mental resources and helps you process complex information more effectively. You might find yourself talking through problems at work, muttering solutions while cooking, or narrating your thinking process when you're stuck on something difficult. What you're doing is engaging your auditory processing system, which adds another sensory layer to your thinking and helps you see problems from different angles. This isn't nervousness or anxiety. This is your brain's natural debugging system at work. Psychology research demonstrates that people who engage in self-talk perform significantly better on complex cognitive tasks, especially when those tasks involve problem-solving and planning. Your self-dialogue isn't a distraction from thinking, it's an amplification of your thinking capacity. This verbal processing ability is what gives you an edge in navigating life's challenges. You're literally talking your way to better solutions. You have sophisticated emotional awareness. When you talk to yourself, you're engaging in emotional processing that most people only do unconsciously. Here's what's happening in your brain. You're activating your insula and anterior cingulate cortex, the regions responsible for emotional awareness and regulation. By verbalizing your feelings, you're literally naming your emotions, which is one of the most powerful techniques for emotional regulation. You might find yourself talking through how you're feeling, processing why a conversation upset you, or narrating your emotional journey during difficult moments. What you're doing is something called labeling, and it's clinically proven to calm your nervous system. This isn't emotional instability or overthinking. This is emotional intelligence in action. This is your mind's way of preventing emotional overwhelm by converting raw feelings into organized language. People who use self-talk to process emotions show significantly better emotional regulation, resilience, and mental health outcomes. Your self-dialogue is your built-in therapy system. You're equipped with a rare ability to move through emotional complexity with grace and self-understanding. This trait often develops in people who are naturally attuned to subtlety and nuance in their inner worlds. You have access to a unique creative channel. When you talk to yourself, you're engaging both the analytical and creative parts of your brain simultaneously. Here's what's happening in your brain. You're bridging your Wernicke's area, which processes language, with your right hemisphere, where creative and associative thinking happens. By speaking your thoughts aloud, you're creating neural crosstalk that generates novel ideas and unexpected connections. You might find yourself brainstorming by talking things out, discovering solutions you didn't know you were looking for, or making creative leaps through self-dialogue that seem to come from nowhere. What you're experiencing is your brain's natural ideation system. This isn't daydreaming or distraction. This is structured creativity. This is your mind's way of accessing insights that silent thinking would never reach. Research in cognitive psychology shows that people who engage in self-talk demonstrate enhanced creative problem-solving and innovative thinking. Your inner monologue is your creative studio. The conversation you're having with yourself is literally generating ideas that your silent mind wouldn't access. This is why many successful artists, writers, and innovators talk to themselves. They've intuitively discovered that their self-dialogue is a gateway to creativity. You have built-in psychological resilience. When you talk to yourself, you're developing one of the strongest predictors of psychological resilience, the ability to generate your own internal support system. Here's what's happening in your brain. You're creating what's called internal dialogue, which functions as a form of self-compassion and cognitive reframing. Your brain is literally having a conversation between different perspectives, which prevents you from getting stuck in rigid thinking patterns. You might find yourself offering yourself encouragement during difficult times, talking yourself through fear, or narrating your way past obstacles. What you're doing is engaging in what psychologists call adaptive self-talk, and it's one of the most powerful psychological resources a person can develop. This isn't weakness or dependence on external validation. This is self-sufficiency. This is your mind's built-in resilience architecture. Research consistently shows that people with strong internal dialogue systems demonstrate greater resilience, faster recovery from setbacks, and better long-term psychological outcomes. Your self-talk is your psychological immune system. You've developed the rare ability to be your own source of support, guidance, and encouragement. This trait often emerges in people who've had to become resourceful, self-reliant, and psychologically sophisticated about their own inner lives. If you've ever been criticized for talking to yourself, or felt weird about your inner dialogue, now you understand the truth. You're not broken. You're equipped with rare cognitive and emotional capacities that most people don't develop. Your self-talk is a sign of high self-awareness, advanced problem-solving ability, emotional sophistication, creative thinking, and genuine psychological resilience. These are the traits of people who think deeply, feel profoundly, and navigate complexity with grace. The truth is your so-called quirk is actually your superpower. Your mind has developed a unique system for processing the world, and that system makes you special. If this video resonated with you, subscribe for more psychology insights that explain who you really are and why your mind works the way it does. You deserve to understand your own strengths.